What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Opendoor. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what really moved it today, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Opendoor did go down 11.33% today, 306 the low, 363 the high, and 233 million shares being traded, 342 is the average. So a little bit lower than the average, but still a good amount. A lot of transactions occurring both on the secondary market as well as the dark pool. So of all the transactions occurring on the secondary market, you did see regrettably a lot of selling. So everything that does show as a bid was a sell. Dark pool kind of paints a little bit of a different picture. Of course, dark pool is used by hedge funds as well as shorts. So you do see a couple big ones, so 3.8 million, but nonetheless, you see a lot of big transactions. And one thing that I've actually brought up in the last couple of videos is just the flow. And so you can kind of see under this right here, so the S, there has been a lot of smaller transactions. So you have just algorithmic trading, in my opinion, really just suppressing Opendoor. And you don't have that lineup of retail investors or institutions buying Opendoor because they're waiting for the next big catalyst. And arguably that is going to be the next CEO announcement. So far, nothing's really planned. And rumor is that it's going to be Travis, which kind of logically makes sense, but then again, could be a dozen individuals that it logically makes sense on. So people are just kind of fishing for the next big catalyst, and unfortunately with a momentum play, you need to keep people's attention kind of on the target. And unfortunately, without a current actual CEO or catalyst, then you're going to have people just wishing. And you can kind of see generally that is what people are posting, just randomly saying that it's going to go to 8 to 10 this week, various things. So it's really hard to actually see a lot of these posts and think that Opendoor is a credible company and not much more than a meme stock, because there is a lot of individuals clearly thinking that this is just basically a meme. So I think it does really need to get a CEO in place ASAP. So no later than this week. If not, you're going to see a lot of uncertainty. On the broader market though, there wasn't really all that much in data points. Tomorrow we do have a lot of the flash data alongside Walmart's earnings first thing. So that could cause some volatility, but a lot of the fear that was plaguing the market was kind of rolled over from the last couple of trading days. So Wall Street's just looking at evaluations and just seeing what is considered overvalued versus not. And yeah, in some cases it kind of does make sense and it's long past due, but at the same time, Wall Street is a very bad and has a very bad judgment of innovative companies. So again, it's kind of yes and no type of scenario that's playing out. Aside from that though, looking at shorts, they did increase 1.19 million shares. 23.5% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 154.02 million shares overall are being shorted. So they did break their trend. So they've been returning largely over the last several trading days. It looks as though since, for the most part, August the 8th. So unfortunately, they did break trend, which is rather unfortunate. But nonetheless, there was a lot of fear in the broader market. Looking at the options, 31 million in calls, 10 million in puts, and then 61% of all the options being done were bearish in nature. Most of that was actually in the first half of the trading day. Of course, that was like kind of peak fear. So of course that might be a little bit skewed, but from a bull standpoint, you do see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $3.50 to $4 range. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub, for the most part, $3. And so there's a little bit more upside than down anticipated. So that's something to keep in mind. With today being Wednesday, it's kind of might be a little bit premature to look at, but this is the open interest. So you do have 24,000 at the 250, 24,000 at the 3, 34,000 at the 350, 82,000 at the 4, 23,000 at the 450, and then 76,000 at the 5. So best case scenario, Opendoor does close above that $5 range. then you'll definitely see a nice gamma squeeze. So shorts, of course, will have a financial interest as well as market makers to ensure that most of this does expire worthless. So again, just something to keep in mind. Aside from all of that though, with it closing at 321, it did close between this R1 and the pivot. So this R1 unfortunately was a good support level. It did break today. So that will be a now resistance level. So 349 followed by 387 will be kind of resistance points, and then 287 followed by 226 will be support levels. Neither were touched today, but of course with tomorrow with a lot of flash data, you never know, that could be touched, so just kind of watch for that. So if you're wanting to dollar cost average, swing trade, or whatever else, then kind of just watch for that. But aside from all that, there hasn't been any new analyst ratings, no real articles, just a lot of speculation on social media. Again, some is just kind of looking like they want nothing more than a meme, and then you have other individuals that actually do clearly tell that they care about the company. So it's a kind of a unique, rare scenario. Aside from that though, on the actual chart itself, it is still technically above right now the ALMA, or actually flirting with that a little bit. So that is sitting at 320. That's kind of a trend changer. So because of today's pullback, kind of touching that. Aside from that though, it's already above all the key pivotal moving averages. So the 50, 200, and also 100. It is considered relatively overbought. So that's probably why today you did have a lot of extreme moves. So because of that, you could see it get back to the neutral territory probably tomorrow. So that could help reset the technicals. But I think, like I said, the actual investors, institution and retail, just need a catalyst. And so Opendoor, I think the next big thing is going to be ultimately just a CEO, or potentially, let's say you have some Fed speakers or Powell allude to a rate cut that could of course help the business itself. But I think you really need a CEO like very, very fast. So let me know your thoughts on Opendoor. What's your viewpoint? Do you think that it is a meme stock? Do you think a lot of the long investors did get out, or do you think that they are kind of doubling down? So what's your overall thoughts on Opendoor? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. But one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. And then sign up for Moomoo as well. Just deposit $100, they give you $50 back. I'm going to be doing a video about Moomoo though on Friday, because they do have that algo trading that I think a lot of retail investors can benefit from, and it's pretty kick-ass if you ask me. So you can kind of do this, back test it. So if you choose, let's say Opendoor for instance, it will give you a certain parameter, kind of run it, and yeah, it's pretty easy if you ask me. So definitely worthwhile to kind of take a look at it and all the other fun jazz, and that way you can kind of fine tune it to the parameters that you do want. Clearly the parameters that I did select weren't all that great, but nonetheless, that's kind of why I'm going to be doing a video all about it. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.